Holmdel, New Jersey at Bellworks. It's a one-day BDC immersion event. That, we recommend BDRs, BDMs, internet sales managers to come in and discuss BDC best practices, and bloopers happen on the show. I don't speak proper English.
We'll grab that one.
What's up, guys?
Hello, friends, and welcome back to a new episode of the Chicks in Charge. And we are super excited because we met this lovely guest of ours today at the Women in Automotive Conference in Colorado Springs. And we are so excited to have her with us this morning. This is the one and only Maria
Maleki. We even debated about how to say her name. We asked her how to say it. It's early. Maria, welcome on with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I cannot tell you how excited I am. What a great intro. I really appreciate it because that is the struggle. How do you say my last name? And you know what, guys? I'm going to take whatever you say because you remembered it. So thank you.
Listen, I always know it doesn't matter if I ask before the show. By the time we get through talking about everything and we actually start recording, I will forget and I'm going to say it wrong anyways. So I apologize.
It's all
that's why I have this one, because she doesn't forget anything ever.
They call me Rain Man.
Okay.
So Maria, we did meet you at Women in Automotive. Was that your first time attending Women in Automotive?
Yes. And oh my God, blown away, right? So what a completely different experience than anything ever before. I mean, I can't compare it to the past, right? Because it was my first, but I can tell you that I've been to other conferences, including outside of automotive. And there has never been anything that has just brought together so many powerful women who literally pull up a chair and say, come sit next to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's inclusive as all heck. And it was great to be brought in. And, I kept saying as I was checking in with my team, and because you're still working during these things, right? The clock doesn't stop.
Yep.
And I just kept saying, wow, I can't believe how many women in automotive are in my backyard. And I had to come to Colorado Springs to find them. This is so insane. But I felt really connected and just embraced by the industry en masse. And I finally felt like I absorbed it, right? Because I think one of the things and themes of the conference, I don't know if you've heard this too, but I kept hearing a lot of people say, I stumbled into automotive.
Yep.
I don't even know how I got here. I've been doing it for 20 years. I was 5 when I started, like that kind of stuff. And it was just like, and I've always felt a little bit outside of that circle because I don't have that, 20-year chip and 10-year tenure and all that kind of stuff. And so, but that didn't stop them from embracing me. And it certainly made me understand for the first time and really in earnest, just truly what the extent of the possibilities are for career growth, and just development. And it was just amazing.
What do you think the best session that you attended during that conference was?
Oh, that's not a fair question. That is not.
And I didn't want to give you time to prep and even think about that.
We didn't talk about this at all ahead of time.
I know that is not a fair question. Gosh, they were all so good. I think that branding was a really great one with Kathy. She's just. Wow. I think I chased her around like a puppy dog the entire thing. Like, be my friend, be my friend.
Who doesn't chase Kathy Gilbert around?
Gosh, right?
Amazing.
And then just how we closed out the conference with the parallels, and forgive me because I don't have it right in front of me, right? But we did a parallel, just understanding your self-worth and positioning yourself and really advocating for yourself. And the parallel was that kind of concept, and tying in self-defense. And let me tell you, I think that one of the slides from that is the thing that I've brought back and shared with so many people in my circle, was to say, man, I was so impacted by this one slide. And it referenced, you have to believe that you're worth fighting for.
Right.
And I'm paraphrasing, but I thought about it. I think, you know what? That is such a simple way to say something that's so huge. Are you worth it? Because a lot of us as women, and I'm guilty of it, I'm I can be as extrovert as I can be. I can also be pretty demure in fighting my own battles. right?
Right.
Shy away from taking some of the success when they are successes, and from standing up for what I believe when it's not the common cause. Those can be things that I struggle with and taking ownership for. And this gave me some perspective on why it matters to do it anyway.
Right.
Right.
And I think one of the things that I heard you mention beforehand that we talk about constantly is imposter syndrome.
Yes.
That, why does it feel like we never feel like we belong, or that we've actually earned our place here? And we hear it so often. So it's like, we're all kind of like just going through this thing of like, how on earth did I stumble into this? Like, and stumbled is the perfect word, because like hardly anybody.
We did not just walk in the door and say, hey, I want to work in the automotive industry today.
Hardly anybody does. Like, I mean, of all of the guests that we've had, I mean, maybe 5 have actually, were either born into it or married into it, knew that they were going to get into it. But like the rest of us had no plans.
No. And here you are leading this awesome podcast that helps so many people, which is amazing. I mean, for my part, I remember, doom scrolling Instagram late at night, like we all do at some point, to relax from the day. And one of my favorite people had said something like, I want to be on more podcasts. I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to try to manifest it. And I was thinking, good for you. You've got so much to say. I love your stuff. Do it. Never thinking in a million years that I would ever find myself on a podcast with anything to say to anyone ever. And a year later, here it is, right? And it's not something that I necessarily put out into the sphere, except for when I met you. The first one I did was, something that I was introduced to, and then I went to the conference and I felt so empowered and revved up, and I saw you guys and I said, hey, pretty please. Pretty please, a sugar on top.
And I'm so glad that you did. This is going to be such a great episode. So Maria, tell us a little bit about you and what you do at CallRevu.
So I'm a regional sales manager at CallRevu. So in my role, I work with dealers and primarily so around the Northeast region, New York, New Jersey. And I work with dealers to really share with them the different solution sets that we have available at CallRevu. And what's really brilliant and so exciting about my role is that it's never a dull day at CallRevu, because one thing that we have done and really made a mission of is to become a one-stop shop, right? The solution place for all of your communication needs, especially around communication intelligence. So, anybody who went to NADA this year understands that AI was at the forefront of everybody's, talking, right? Like, how are we incorporating AI? And our AI is just something that I'm so proud of, because it is automotive exclusive in that when you think about machine learning, you want to take it to the best school, right? You want to give it the best material possible, and you want it to study all day long. So, we're processing like upwards of 11 million calls a month.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, this is like, and now it's getting more and more and more, right? And with that, we're processing calls that are, when I say that number, think about it, they're all automotive. And, in the industry, historically, we've had companies who specialize in this sort of thing, but they do it across medical and they do it across legal. And so that brain, once you filter all of that data into AI, can get really, kind of confused, because there are very specific topics that lead to very specific outcomes. And if you have the ear for it, you can create those alerts and notifications and drive the change that, builds up your bottom line all day long, right? So when we say to a dealer, hey, pay attention to our alerts, because they're gonna make you money at the end of the day, at the end of the month, it's because we're not crying wolf. Our AI knows exactly what to listen for, upwards of 30 data points brought in to alert you when, there's a missed opportunity, or when there's an opportunity to, really impact your brand by improving CSI, right?
Yep.
So all day long, and for a long time, that has been the center of our world. And then recently, through the acquisition of Total CX, just last month, it feels like it's been forever, but it's just been a few weeks. Now we have the ability to tie in all of this great analytics with a hosted phone system, and being able to never miss a call, whether it's inbound, outbound, wherever in your dealership it is, to ring anywhere for you, because you are on the go. You're not sitting at your desk, right? You're all over the place. So you need that cell phone to ring as much as your desk phone, as much as your, virtual headset like I'm on. You want to all have all of that. And then providing you with the resources to jump into calls. When when we hear about our dealers' needs today, and we understand that days of supply is high, that we need to be able to provide them with the absolute best return on investment for their ad spend. When the phone rings, that's one of the best leads you're going to get. I mean, that
Right.
person is transitioning from, their research into, okay, this is the call that's going to make or break whether I drive my butt down to that dealership. We're
Right.
not going to as many dealerships anymore, right? So if you say the right thing, you own me. If you
Right.
don't, I'm picking up the phone and calling somebody else. So it's our mission to be able to provide you with the opportunity to dive into a call immediately, to get alerted to keywords like, is somebody mentioning my competitor? What?
That's
On the
That's
phone?
it.
And to be able to say, hey, let me take that, let me jump in on that. As a sales manager, that's really powerful. As a BDC
Right.
manager, I mean, it's a game changer, right? So doing that across all of your inbound, outbound calls, and just providing, another thing, which is like training. What? So you asked me the wrong question, ladies, which is what I do. What I do is talk about this company, and I just can't stop when I get started. So
Right.
let me pause here because it could be all day.
So yeah, let's pause here for just a second because you have a lot to say, and I think that it's super important, everything that you're saying. But I think it's even cooler that you've only been with this company for a year, for 1 year, and you're this passionate about it already.
I am. Let me tell you something. When you're in sales, and it doesn't matter if you're selling a donut or a vehicle or a jetliner, you got to believe in what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And when you do, it's not sales, it's a conversation, it's a consultation, it's almost like a hug. Like, let me help you right now,
Yeah.
because what I'm about to tell you, it's going to save you time. It's going to
Right.
save you energy. It's going to make you smile at the end of the day. And I'm finally, and I feel so blessed to be in a position to advocate so powerfully and so, so much conviction for this company and for what we do, because I have seen that it's not just a technology, which is amazing. Okay. It's the support. You
Yes.
put in a piece of technology and
Right.
people say, great, you signed on the dotted line. See you later. Off to the next one. But really, it's how do we make this tool your own? How do we support you in your day to day? We don't disappear once you sign on the line, right? Our support team and our account managers, which is really the role that does the true hand holding after I've, shaken your hand and thanked you for your partnership. They drive success for our partners by being there. How many times have you signed up to the service you thought was going to be amazing, and then you can't get anybody on the phone?
Literally.
You had a question.
CRM.
All the
time. I mean, and we're agnostic, right? So you pick your battles on that front, guys, but we're going to support you with whoever you're working with,
Right.
and put that info in there for you, because look, in a world where sometimes those things go down, right? When things stop working as we expect them to, which we've been all kind of dealing with, as an industry pretty significantly these last few days, having a safety net for your customer data, right? A place where we're not going to lose those inbound calls, where we're not going to lose the recordings that help with compliance.
Yep.
I mean, having that safety net in place has been a game changer for some of our partners who have been able to say, okay, this is not accessible to me, but I know once it's back
Right.
up, we'll feed back into it. But in the now, I can work out of this system,
Yes.
get to my people, log my activity.
Yep.
What? Right. So it was the CRM they didn't expect to need,
Right.
but all of a sudden, could not be more important to them, and so, and just kudos to the resiliency of the industry overall for
For real. My God.
that everyone has lended a hand to do, right? I mean, talk about lifting up your neighbor. I mean, we saw that at the Women in Automotive conference, for us women just supporting each other and providing avenues of growth. But within the industry, it was like, hey, how can I help you?
Yeah.
What can we do?
Well, and
Whether it's
what's
vendor
great,
or dealer.
yeah, what's great is not hearing in the midst of what's happening right now. It's great not hearing a lot of bashing on CDK's part. Like,
I love that.
Like, we have friends who work at CDK, so like it's very important to us that they, before any of this happened, they weren't on anybody's radar for being a bad company. They are a good company. They offer great solutions. Bad things happen to good people.
Right.
And so seeing the support of the industry, of everybody trying to, how can, like you said, how can I help you? How can we find a solution around this for now? Like, you have no access to your CRM or DMS. What can we do to work around that? How are your techs going to get paid? How are you going to do payroll at the end of the month? And it's impacting so many people across this business. And like you said, everybody's just coming together and trying to make this the best place ever. And something I'm very surprised about that, if it's happened, I haven't seen it, is the other DMS is coming out to hunt and fish in the shark infested waters.
It's happened.
It has.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not
I've seen a
loud.
lot.
It's not loud. Like, you don't see Reynolds jumping, or you don't see Techion jumping, doing those things, Vin Solutions. Like, they may be, but if it is, the rest of the people aren't carrying that same baton. And so the support for CDK is still there.
Yeah, I think there's definitely been a measure of respect in the approach. I don't think any salesperson out there is going to, give up the opportunity to somehow tout their, whatever. But I think
I'm not down right now.
Right. Yeah.
yeah. And that's the thing, is to be able to convey with a level of respect that our partner, our competition keeps you sharp, guys. So,
for sure.
having CDK out there lead the charge in so many areas for so long has kept other competitors sharp, right? So when this happens, I think there's also self-recognition that it's like, let's be careful before we point the finger, because this could happen to anyone. If anything, rather than pointing fingers, let's go check our resources. Let's go check our
let's go double up
under
our
the hood and make sure everything's working properly.
I
Right?
mean, I made a post on Facebook yesterday because I had consumers that were reaching out to me. Are all dealerships down? I mean, because what the media is putting out there is a lot of scarcity to consumers right now. And it's hard for dealerships to even get that message out to their customers that they can still come in. They can still work a deal, because all they're being told is all the dealerships in the nation are shut down because of the CDK crisis. And we're like,
not true.
Man, not true, guys.
Yeah. And, so here's what's interesting. So my mom, this is really funny, right? Of all the timing in the world. So my mom is actually in the middle of a car acquisition, right? So she bought a car. Fortunately, her car got totaled. She's off getting a new car. They're waiting for payoffs from, the OEM. Will be brandless and nameless here, right? But it brought to light something that was really important to me, right? So we're in automotive. However we got here, we're in it. So so if we hear CDK, we understand that means certain things to us, and in the many ways that it's touched our business. If you're a customer, what are the chances that you know what CDK means prior to last week? You don't, right? If you're a customer and you're dealing with a delay in getting your vehicle, like my mom, we don't know when she's going to get her vehicle right now because it's impacting registration in her state. Right. And how quickly her vehicle can get registered and then given to her. Right. So there's a delay, and rightfully so. The dealer was kind enough to let me know. He doesn't know that I'm in automotive. He said, hey, listen, there's been something that's transpired. It's outside of our control. It's affecting the registry. It could be this amount of time for you to get your vehicle. What just happened here? If I don't know anything about behind the scenes, he set some real expectations, taken as much blame as he could, which he doesn't have any, right? But then also said, look, I'm going to keep you updated as I hear back. So I say this to say, sometimes we get wrapped into our perspective in our own little worlds, which is pretty big in automotive, but that customer experience is so incredibly important, because how do we don't tell them how we make the donuts. We just show them the donuts, right? So for us to tell them, hey, by the way, the bread machine's down, doesn't really make a whole lot. Like, what does it have to do with me? Like, they don't know, right? So how do we, as an industry, like to your point, Jess, is like, how do we create that confidence and maintain the confidence in our brand? Because they don't see it as an industry problem; they see it as my dealership's problem.
Yes,
right. Your people couldn't figure it out. If I went to another dealership, this may not be a problem with them.
Right,
It's your problem. So we really need to think about how we message that and work with our people. And that's where, not to bring it back, but I'm bringing it back, right? What happens on your phones matters.
Yes.
The conversations matter, right? The talk track matters. And being able to see that in an efficient way, because look, if your dealership's having thousands of calls and you already have a BDC and you've got people, one person or two people or three managers cannot possibly oversee manually every phone call. You can't spin the Russian roulette, like, well, which phone call is going to tell me the truth about my system?
Right.
I mean, you're grasping at straws. You might pick the best ones. You might pick the worst ones. You don't know.
Yeah.
AI distills, right? AI distills and compiles for you accuracy and metrics across your dealership. And that's where we put it to use.
So with you working in sales and getting to speak mostly to dealers who are not partnered with CallRevu yet, what is the one thing that has been the straw to break the camel's back to push them to find a solution?
Gosh, so if they're not using CallRevu, and let's take the current climate out of the equation, let's talk about kind of like every day, right? I think what dealers are starting to realize is that the environment has changed and the days of order taking are now really behind us.
Right.
And if you saw that coming, you're already positioned with some kind of visibility around your phone system, and you understand that that's impacting your business model because your team has been used to picking up the phone and saying, let me see if I even have that on here. Let me see if I have a deposit on that already. I mean, they're just really checking availability at that point,
Right.
and they did it for a long time. And it was kind of like you could be as rude as you want because you had 5 people standing in front of you,
Mhm.
right? And it just, you may never even see that person come in. So, with things changing, right, the mindset has to change. And so, dealers are really appreciating that it's not just about trusting seniority and experience because, like any sport, like any player in a sport, like any athlete, you need to train to keep your skills set sharp. And so, how do you train? By getting back in the gym. And back in the gym means having these conversations that really pull customers in, that create rapport, that, build on who you are, compared to your neighbors in the marketplace. And it's not just availability and price. I mean, I have Google for that. I mean,
Right.
that's easy, right? And what I need is to feel that love. And then when you think about how that impacts service, it's even more so, right? Because delays and just the amount of time to get things done in service has increased over time. And so you really stand out by the measure of the quality of the person that picks up the phone and says, Jessica, thank you for calling, remembers your
Right.
name, Shasta, pronounces it, like all the things, right? Those things matter. And then when they make promises of calling you back, that they keep those, right? And how do you measure that? So it's a long-winded answer, like all my answers, sorry guys, but it just feels like, the thing that tips a dealer is understanding that. When
Yep.
they realize that every marketing dollar they spend translates to a phone call that either makes a sale or doesn't, then they realize I can't play.
Right.
I'm cutting expenses, but like this isn't where I need to cut it because
Right.
this is what actually defines and enlightens me as to what drives business. Because when you track those phone calls and you track the sources sending you business, then you can say, regardless of their attribution, because every advertising source tells you that's their customer.
Right.
That one's mine. I send them to you, right? But I can actually show you, we can show you, you can see on the phones, where do they actually end up pulling the trigger calling?
Right.
Can we feed up and give you full visibility 360 into your CDPs and Google for analytics tracking? Yeah, we could do that too. So know your customer. And
It-
and that's the tipping scale.
It reminds me, when dealers don't have a software like this, of a coach who has, like a football coach who has missed the first half and tries to come in and pull players without knowing what's already happened. So, say, like, when a dealer is trying to make changes in his dealership, staffing wise, processes, if you don't know what's happening at the starting lines, at the point of where the customer is calling, how do you know what changes to make? So if you're not monitoring your service calls to know that 90% of them are status checks, where you could literally set up a phone tree to take a message or to direct them to one person. You have one person on staff who just handles status checks. How much time would you save your advisors, and how quickly could they then turn people through the department if they aren't having to phone those or handle those phone calls the whole time?
100%. I mean, virtual BDCs exist for some of these really specific reasons, right? And that's where you put your aces in their places, right? Put the people who can do more doing more and not bogged down with some of these silly things. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's really incredible. So, yeah, we just gotta support them and help them see that sometimes because they look at it as, oh no, I got to do more.
Right.
Like, it's gonna tell me bad news. You can't fix
That's
what's not,
okay.
you can't fix it if you don't know,
Right.
where it's broken. You can't
It's
just come
already
in and,
broken.
yeah, we're just telling you where to, spend your energy and time.
Right.
Right.
It's already broken. If you can keep ignoring the problem, but you ignore that faucet drip too
You're so
long and
right.
you're going to have a flooded basement.
You are
Right.
so right.
So, Maria, you mentioned before we got on this call that you were going to be at NAMAD this year. And I know that you went to NADA this year and you were at the Women in Automotive Conference. Were you also at an IADA?
I was not.
Okay.
So I skipped that one. So short story about CallRevu, right? So I joined CallRevu last September.
Okay.
And so I'm coming up on my year mark, right? And so
Wow.
NAMAD is going to be in August this year. But my very first meeting where I met, my sales director, and where our well, he's not so new anymore, but at the time our new CEO had kind of visited, was at NAMAD last year, which is held in Miami, which is in my backyard. I'm living in Fort Lauderdale at the moment, right? So I lived in Miami for years and years. And so they said, "Hey, why don't you come down? It'll be a nice way to like shake your hand in person, because everybody's virtual these days and we work remote, and it's sometimes hard just to give somebody a hug and say, hey, what's up?
Right.
And see them face to face in 3D." And so I went for the first time, and I was like, wow, because up until that point, so this has been the year of, I guess, inclusive learning for me, where I've learned about how this industry does inclusivity, right? So I did not know that NAMAD was a conference before last year.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that the Women in Automotive Conference was a thing until this year.
Wow.
So this has been the year where, for me, I have learned about how this industry empowers minorities, empowers women, provides a place for their voices to be heard, and for them to seek the resources that help them grow, so that they don't feel left behind, so that they
Right.
can make the impact. And because I'm so stinking customer centric, so that they can provide, that inclusivity in turn to their customer base that feels sometimes left behind. So
Right.
I never in a million, it's always like, wow, wow, wow. Like the whole time I'm like, wow, wow. So just the idea that I have the opportunity to be part of that conversation this year fills me with so much joy, and I just feel so honored. I don't know what we're going to be talking about yet, because this year has been, for CallRevu in particular, a year of tremendous growth, development, and advancement. So really want to tie in, probably some of my own perspective within the industry as a woman, being Hispanic, just kind of what I have felt as a buyer, and then also kind of the impact of that customer service experience, because and I don't know if this is where it's going to end up being, guys, but our dealers share with us that when it comes to growth and expansion, buying that second location, that third location, and so on, right? OEMs really look at their customer service index. I mean, if you can't keep the people you're working with today at your location today happy, how can we entrust you with another point of service? How can we put our brand and expand it within you? So really understanding how our industry can help these minority dealers in that space to provide them with the tools and the resources, whether that's, being able to use CallRevu for Spanish translations, things like that, right? Whatever it is that we can do to empower you, to help you grow within the business and become a multi-store group is really exciting for me.
That's a good answer.
That is a good answer.
And I know that NAMAD is in August, and I'm not sure what the exact date is. I know you have dealers in the Northeast region, New Jersey, New York area. Will you be at by appointment
I was
only?
going to ask that too.
I don't know about by appointment only,
So
actually.
it's Anthony Algonia's event.
I didn't hear you. What's that?
It's Anthony Algonia's event with appointments that show.
Ooh.
And he's putting it on in Homedale.
Homedale, New Jersey at Bellworks. It's a 1-day BDC immersion event. That we recommend BDRs, BDMs, internet sales managers to come in and discuss BDC best practices, and bloopers happen on the show. I don't speak proper English.
Grab that one.
And so this is the second one. The first one was in February, so we're doing spring and fall or summer. It's called the summer session, so I guess it's technically summer. But I think that would be a really great thing for you to be at and get to share this product, especially since
let's connect. I want all the details. I definitely want to figure out how to be there, because gosh, if the BDC isn't using us, if we can't win them over, what are we even doing?
Okay, I'll send you some info after we get off here. Sorry, that was random. I figured with you having dealers in that area that that it would be a good place for you. Plus, we'll be there. So
yay! That's enough. That's enough.
Yeah, you have to meet Anthony. Anthony is a phenomenal human.
amazing.
He runs another outsourced BDC called Appointments That Show. He's got a really great operation. He's based there in New Jersey, so he's a great connection to have.
Yes, let's do that. Let's figure that one out. I like that.
Perfect.
Awesome.
All right, Maria, where can people reach you if they want to connect?
So I always tell them to come visit us at CallRevu.com. Okay, that is great way to just get a hold of anyone, right? Because if it's me, it's me. If it's not me, it's going to be someone just as good or even better than me. So CallRevu.com, you can learn more, schedule a demo, all the things, really get to know our tools. If you want to reach me directly, please do so. I love to hear from you directly. You can reach me at Maria Maleki at CallRevu.com. Maybe we can put those in the notes. And then my phone number, it's out there for the world. So 978-726-4784. Call me, text me, email me. Let's do the thing.
That? Your phone number?
978-726-4784.
Thank you. Perfect.
I was still writing your email when you were talking. You got a long name.
I do.
All right. Well, Maria, thank you so much for joining us today. We really do appreciate you taking the time out of your day. And we won't tell the whole world, but we're going to right now that we've rescheduled on you yesterday. So.
At last minute, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your patience.
You saved
and flexibility. That was amazing. We do.
I will reschedule my life around this podcast any day. Are you kidding me? This was so fun. Anytime.
We hate having to do it.
We do.
It's sometimes scheduling, like we get it right in the perfect time window, and then trying to get it again is almost
impossible.
as hard. So thank you for working with us.
All right.
Well, thank you for having me. You made my whole day, my whole week, and this has been like the highlight of.
No, we did this at Women in Automotive, and it popped up little hearts on the screen, and I don't know how to do it again.
I know. I don't either. Oh well. All right. Well, remember when you go out into the world this week, remember to be kind because you never know what battle somebody else is facing. So remember to light it up. I am Jess.
I'm Shasta.
And that's Maria. And we've been the Chicks in Charge today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yay, you've made it this far. And if you want to help the chicks out and add some value, make sure you subscribe right now.
Click that little red button down below. Do it. Do it now.